And we're live.
Hi.
Andy,
Hello. I feel bad now because I've seen all those pictures with people wearing crazy hats, and I haven't got mine. It's at the other end of the room.
well, yeah, we got rid of the hat policy. Now we've moved to a new time. It's early in the morning. So, well, early in the morning in San Diego time. It's early in the afternoon UK time.
Yeah, it's early here. It's late afternoon for you guys. It must feel good for you. For me, I'm not a morning person. So where am I? Nice to meet you, Sarah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, shall we carry on with the important question that Christelle asked in the pre-chat?
Yes, we should.
Why were you trying to jump out of a window?
I climbed out, actually. And it was an amazing. So I don't know, Christelle, I don't know if you know King's Cross Station in London. It's had a complete revamp a few years ago. Okay. And it's beautiful. It's got the most sort of beautiful domed roof. It really is gorgeous. And I was working at the time, doing a lot of work with Fuller's Brewery, okay? And Fuller's have a pub in King's Cross Station, quite high up, and it's actually slightly above the level of this amazing roof. And normally you go into King's Cross Station and you look up and you see the roof. But we were in this room, this function room that we'd been showing around. And I looked out the window and we were above and we were looking down onto the top of the King's Cross roof. And it was fab. And I was with Tim. And it was great. And it was snowing. So there was a thin layer of snow on it. And I said, wow, that looks amazing. And I love heights. I've got this thing about heights. I just love them. I find it really exciting. So we were in this old room, like an old building, Victorian building. And I could just see that the window looked a bit rubbish. So I just went over and went, ooh. And I opened the window, climbed out of the window, climbed up onto a chair, climbed out the window onto the King's Cross roof. It was so fantastic. And Tim and Christine Gritmon, who was there, were like, oh, God.
Yeah, so she was trying to run away on the roof, basically.
So who got the picture of this? Do you have a picture of this or no?
I might have somewhere. I should have been.
There were some photos. There was evidence.
There's evidence.
Yeah.
But I had to tell these guys not to put it on social media in case I got fired from others for climbing out of one of their windows.
I don't think you work for them anymore, so I think
I don't work for them anymore. No.
Yeah.
So now you can.
But actually, I did tell the one of the pub landlords. He said, "Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it."
Yeah. Right. I suppose we should talk about, given that we've got the half-hour limit, we should talk about social media and all the exciting stuff. Because you were more generalist before, but now you've kind of become laser focused on LinkedIn. So why do you think LinkedIn is such a wonderful platform, and why are you focusing on LinkedIn?
Well, we've only got half an hour. It's brilliant. It's such a wonderful platform. I will talk about that first, and then I'll talk about how I ended up doing just LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is much more interesting than me. Basically, what I love about LinkedIn is that it's all about connecting, and it's about people-to-people relationships, which is, I'm very, very big on that, as I know you guys are as well. And it's since lockdown as well, even more so, people want to connect with people. They don't want to talk to faceless companies. They want to talk to the employees in the heart of LinkedIn. But what LinkedIn is about, yes, it's about connecting and about making friends and growing your network. But the really interesting thing about LinkedIn is that everybody knows that, yeah, we're being all nice to each other and lovely and friendly, but we know we are there to do business. So it's not like, on Facebook, for example, it's about dogs and babies and cats and things like that. And the business side of things, you have to keep completely separate. So if you've got a business page on Facebook, you post your business stuff on there and you post your personal stuff on your personal. But with LinkedIn, you can merge the two in your personal profile. So you go on as a business, as a copywriter or as an HR expert, whatever. But you can talk about yourself to a certain degree, which is a sort of strategic thing. But everybody knows that you're there for a business reason as well as actually connecting. And I just love the crossover.
Okay. This is interesting to me because I was told to always keep LinkedIn very professional. Can you get rid of some of the myths for us that we may have heard about LinkedIn? For example, like I just said, keep LinkedIn very professional. Always have your most professional picture. What is your advice and strategy for that?
I would say a couple of years ago, maybe that was the case. Yes, that was the case. But LinkedIn has really softened, and still no dogs and no babies, please. It's not like that. And and if you're going to talk about anything, try and relate it back to your work. So, for example, let's say breakfast. So on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, you'll take a photo of your breakfast, put it on, go, this is what I had for breakfast. And you might hashtag or tag in the place that you had your breakfast. In LinkedIn, yes, you can talk about your breakfast, but you talk about it in a different way. You talk about it, the photo would be if it was a business meeting at breakfast. So you'd have the photo of you with the colleagues, with the business, the other business people in the environment. Rather than focusing on the food, you're focusing on the people, what you talked about in that meeting, what was the outcome of that meeting. So yes, talk about your breakfast, but guide it towards your work. But people do want to know the real you. So your about section in LinkedIn, which interestingly enough used to be called your summary section, and then it is now your about section, which I really like because it's not a summary, it's about you. That's what it's about. And you really do write about you. So yes, you write about what you can offer for people, what services, how you can help them. But write about yourself, write something about you that's a conversation starter, that people know the heart of who you are. And so that there's something more to that relationship. And it's about positioning. So if you can write something personal, you're positioning yourself in a different way from somebody else who's doing exactly the same as you. And so do bring your personality in, but make sure everything always goes back to the work because it is about work. But yes, bring your heart, bring your you in there as well, definitely.
So you managed to dodge the question about how you ended up moving from general social media to LinkedIn. So, I mean, I guess you're doing it because it works, LinkedIn, for you anyway. So when did you start making that realization that LinkedIn was the way for you to go?
So I think it was a couple of years ago when I was looking after pub social media mainly and looking after hospitality social media, and it was great. Then I started doing some training as part of that. And I thought, I'm going to see if I can train other people as well. So that's when I started to use LinkedIn to try and find clients to train in social media generally. Possibly with a slight focus on Instagram, but more of a sort of general social media strategy. And I started to get clients on LinkedIn. And I thought, well, hang on, if I can do this, I can teach other people how to do it. So I started teaching LinkedIn as well as social media. And then I suddenly realized, looking at all my sort of client list, that all I was teaching was LinkedIn. So I thought, well, I'm just going to focus on that and become an absolute expert. And it's great because I can really focus on LinkedIn now and work, spend a lot of time learning about the platform so I can offer a better service.
Are you offering workshops online, or when we go back to being able to meet in person, is that a possibility as well?
Yes, I mean, I started out doing in person, but online is brilliant. It works so well. So I do one-to-ones, or I do groups, or I go into companies. And going into companies is great, actually, because you can teach a whole company how to use LinkedIn, and it's complete transformation for the company. It's such an enjoyable thing to do, to be able to offer that service, and then afterwards to watch them grow on LinkedIn and watch the company doing really well on LinkedIn. So I do online workshops, and I have a course as well, an online course, which I've just run. I ran it last time I ran it was October, and I'll be running it again February, March time.
Okay.
So I've heard quite a few different suggestions as what kind of posts and things work on LinkedIn. Because some people say, like, I'll do LinkedIn live video. Some people do video. Some people say put up, because you can just attach file attachments and things on LinkedIn. what kind of things should a company be doing on LinkedIn in terms of what they post, and also like what other things should they do? Because obviously posting isn't completely what social media is, so to speak.
No, exactly. Good question, Tim. With regards to what to post, I always advise, well, first of all, what do your audience want? So always look at who your audience is and what kind of stuff works for them. So try different styles of posts, long posts, long blogs, short posts. Polls are great. So you can ask questions and people answer in a poll. Document posts, so you can make a PDF and you can literally upload the PDF. And it's really easy for people just to scroll through the slides, through the slide deck and see, what you've written on each slide. So I would advise any company to vary their content initially and see what works for them, but also to vary the content generally, because otherwise people just get bored. The last thing you go, oh, it's another one of these sorts of posts. So I always advise companies and individuals to vary their content, and as I say, always looking at your stats, what seems to be working. And that's the same with regards to times of posting as well. But the thing about LinkedIn is that you don't have to go mad posting all the time. What you need to do on LinkedIn is engage. You need to be in LinkedIn every day, half an hour, commenting on other people's posts. And that's so much more important on LinkedIn than I think it is on any of the other platforms. Because what happens with LinkedIn is people comment on people's comments and the conversation threads actually get quite long. And that's how you build your network on LinkedIn, is by going into other people's posts and commenting on their posts and growing your network that way.
Yeah. Isn't it? LinkedIn's odd in that if you like something, it can appear in your feed, unlike, say, Facebook and other platforms. So it's actually quite a biased sharing platform in that regard.
Biased in a good way, do you think, Tim?
Well, I would say good, because I'm more interested in engagement. But yes, I would say it can show you, like Sarah Clay commented on this post by so and so, which Facebook would never show you unless you happen to be seeing the post for some other reason.
No, that's absolutely true. It's really easy to see people's activity on LinkedIn, which is why you've got to be really careful. Because if you want to stay on brand, don't go liking stuff that's off brand, because people can see everything that you've liked, everything that you've commented on. It's really easy for people to see that. So do be careful. And also, it's what I think that the other thing that I think that whole process does, it stops people just going like, in order to hopefully get more engagement. Because if I'm looking at somebody's profile and I see that all they do is like, and they never comment, they never engage, I just think, oh, waste time.
Well, that's probably my profile lately. So. I've really neglected LinkedIn for a while. So I need to get back into it.
I'm learning. So I'm learning from you today, Sarah, too, because LinkedIn has been my question mark in my head. Just how do you use this? What I've seen a lot of people do, too, is really creative profiles and describing themselves. I've seen a lot of words like ninja, guru, hero, superhero. What can you give us advice for our profile? Because I know that's key, right?
Yeah, your profile is absolutely key. And I always say that your profile is your shop window.
Okay.
So the last thing you want is somebody arriving at your shop and it looks neglected. It looks like a bit unkempt, or it looks closed, or it's a mess. So, for example, the analogy I use is if you're walking down the high street and you look in a shop window and you see it's got a really nice jacket in the shop window, hanging in the window, and you think, oh, I like the look of that jacket, I might go in and try that on. And then you look into the shop window and you see there's a baby's pram and some camping equipment and some tins of baked beans. And you think, what is all this about? I don't understand what's going on in this shop. And you won't go in. You're too confused. So it's really important that your shop window, your profile, is presenting you very, very clearly who you are, who you want to serve, who you're serving, and how you serve them. And when I say shop window, I mean Gucci, not Primark. So make sure it's looking really, really absolutely on point, because the last thing you want people to do is hoof over there to your profile and go, and then go away. And it is really important. And it's interesting you say words like ninja, blood, whatever the words are. I don't like those words.
Okay, this is good. I want to hear about this.
They're kind of empty. They don't really mean anything. And okay, you've got 2,600 characters or so in your about section. You want to make sure that those words count because they are keywords and they can get found in a search. And because LinkedIn is indexed by Google, your profile can actually come up in a Google search as well as in a LinkedIn search. So use the keywords as much as you can. Obviously, don't just list them and hope that they'll get picked up. They need to be used in sentences and grammatically and what have you. But try not to use empty words like efficient, best at, ninja. You can use the words ninja, of course you can. But try to use words that actually mean something in your profile.
Yeah, well, Christelle actually dresses up as a ninja and throws ninja stars around.
Well, there you go, then. You're fine. We'll just go for you. Everybody's different, Christelle.
Or as Tim likes to say, the Llama Farm owner. Use that example.
It's a long-running joke on the show that I accused Christelle of wanting to start a llama farm off. Well, given that Christelle's raised that example again, if she actually did run a llama farm, she doesn't. What would be your advice as to how she could use LinkedIn to? I'm not even sure what kind of clients she would be looking for. People to come and visit her llama farm.
So, what are you doing with your llamas? What are you doing with those llamas on your llama farm?
I mean, you created the scenario. I feel like you should tell us.
Well.
Okay, let's see you want to sell them. You're breeding. Maybe you're breeding llamas. Should we say that?
I do
breeding llamas. Maybe people can visit to pet them and take pictures.
Yeah, well, I actually follow an alpaca farm in London, which I've not got to yet, and they're all about like selling, like it's people coming in and like petting, or I think with llamas they have to be a certain distance because they've got a habit of spitting apparently. So that would be, it's more like a kind of people come in and have their photograph taken with the llamas, I would suspect.
So you'd want to make sure that when you set up your profile as a llama farmer that sounds quite weird, doesn't it? So what you're trying to attract is families. So in that sense, make sure that your language is family friendly, obviously, although the kids are very unlikely to be on LinkedIn, but you're after the parents. And what I would do there is you're looking at issues relating to llamas and issues relating to families that might want to come to your llama farm. So maybe things around kids' mental health, petting llamas, may help kids, with their mental health and adults. It's about family activities. So then you could, dads maybe who are divorced, who are looking for activities to do with their kids. So you might want to target them. Now you've got me. So I'd use the search option to try and find the people I'm after. So maybe divorced dads or something would be something, or parents who teachers, schools, you see, you could approach schools and do school tours. So you search for teachers, for educational establishments, and try and appeal to those people and connect with those people. There you go.
That's brilliant. There we go.
Now, something that I had the problem of, and I've kind of moved a little bit away from this, is I had a huge amount of endorsements and other stuff from my previous career in finance. I think about 2 years ago, I got rid of all of that. I literally delete the whole thing. But somebody who is moving from one area to another, obviously they want to kind of keep their pre-existing career thing in case the new venture doesn't work. How do they cope with that on LinkedIn? How can somebody cope with having multiple kind of areas of experience?
You can't. So it takes you back to the shop window analogy. Trying to sell two different things, it's really confusing. What I would do in that situation would, if I could, I would set up a company page for one of the skills, let's say, and maybe keep my personal profile for the other skill. Now, you can still mention, let's say, skill A and skill B. You still mention skill B on your personal profile, but you need your focus to be on the one that you're promoting at that time.
Yeah.
You know, there's no disgrace or there's nothing wrong with changing things around and switching stuff and to attract a different audience. So yeah, I was social media trainer, and then overnight, suddenly I'm LinkedIn trainer. Yeah. And that's fine. You know, there's nobody's going to say, "Oh, look at you, you've changed." They say, "No." Well,
tomorrow you're going to be llama farmer now.
I might, you know. I might keep that in my hobbies and interests section. You don't mind, which is a very valid thing to have. You need that. So if I was a llama farmer on a Saturday or a Sunday or in the evenings, whatever, I'd put that on there.
Yeah.
And no doubt I'd get an awful lot of engagement from people because there probably aren't many llama farmers on them on LinkedIn.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good question, Tim, because I'm one of those people who have had different experiences. I mean, going from nonprofit work to social media work to how do I get my children's book into LinkedIn? And so this raises questions for a lot of us who are, you know, we do several different things. So you are suggesting that we have a private one and a company one, probably.
Yes, I would, and definitely focus on the one thing on your personal profile for sure. Because as I say, you're just going to confuse people, you know. And if you're talking about social media all the time, and then suddenly you're talking about your kid's book, people are going to go, "Ooh, hello, what's this all about?" You know, if let's say you were working on the social media for your kid's book, you could talk about that on your social media profile. Look at the social media of my kids, you know, look at how I managed to get this engagement, look, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But try to literally focus on that one thing. Just make it easier for people.
Yeah. And this is the key to LinkedIn, I'm seeing. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think LinkedIn has moved. It used to be very much just an online CV or resume site. Resume, that's how they say in the US. But now it is much more of an active social media platform. So I think a lot of people did set up their accounts as, I mean, I did I think it was the first social media network I joined, LinkedIn, and I've got huge amounts of random connections on it, but it was for a long time just a CV, online CV, really, for me.
Yeah.
So a question there.
If you really did want to focus on social media for what you're doing now, I would recommend you had a really big cleanup of your account and unfollowed and unconnected, disconnected with the people that are no longer relevant, because otherwise your feed is just going to get all messy and confusing as well, and you won't know what's going on.
Yeah, I suppose that's true with the whole, like, it shows who you like and what you like thing. If you like something and don't, you've got a whole different. It's a shame you can't have multiple profiles, but then I guess that's true with most accounts.
You can have multiple business pages, but not
I did see somewhere, it might have been on LinkedIn, that you did a post saying that LinkedIn are clamping down on swear words or something.
Yes. So Andy Foote actually posted about this. Give him the credit. He posted about this on Friday, Saturday, that a lot of people that he knew suddenly were turning onto LinkedIn and they weren't there anymore because LinkedIn had closed them down. No notice, nothing, for inappropriate posting and inappropriate behavior on LinkedIn. And I have seen, there's a couple of people I've seen, one of whom, to be fair, was, I don't know whether you'd call it inappropriate, but definitely pushed boundaries and showed parts of his anatomy that we didn't really want to see. And LinkedIn got rid of it.
Who are you following on LinkedIn?
I know, actually, interestingly, I wasn't following him. I only became aware of him because of all the controversy around him. So swearing and, you know, profanities on LinkedIn is being definitely clamped down on. Yeah.
Okay. Profile pictures. What is your advice for profile pictures? I know originally it was taught they have to be extremely professional, like Tim said, CV look, resume look. What is your advice for that? Is it still the same?
I would say that now your profile picture still needs to look like you. You should update it every 2 years because you don't want to be seen to be a fibber. You know, there's nothing worse than looking at somebody's profile photo and then you meet them in the flesh and they've lost all their hair, gone grey, put on about 4 stone, you know. So you be honest because it's about honesty and trust. But I think the the classic corporate photo, yeah, you could use that. But actually, I think it's nice to have something a bit more relaxed.
Okay.
Still very clear. You still need the 1/3 rule, so your eyes are 1/3 down, which I think is a really good rule for photography anyway. And clearly no dogs or babies, obviously. Not that I've got anything against dogs and babies, but they're just not on LinkedIn.
What about if they've got a puppy?
It can be a bit more relaxed. And we don't need to have the suit and the tie and all of that. You know, it's about being you and about showing a bit of your personality.
Okay. Good. Do you have examples? What your favorite example that we can actually look at? LinkedIn profile.
Brought me on the hop. Gillian Whitney is a very good profile. Jeff Young is great on LinkedIn. JEFF Young is great on LinkedIn. He's an absolute superstar, and he really pushes it in a slightly different way. He has this sort of Superman thing that he does with. He has a little emoji or a Bitmoji, I think they're called, aren't they? And he's great. Gillian, again, she's got a Bitmoji thing, and she's really fun on LinkedIn and just really engaging. You know, every single post they will comment, and if you go through their history, you'll see they comment on so much stuff, and they're just really, really helpful. And there's one moment. Let me go into my drawer. There's this great movement on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn superhero, and it's Decide to Be Kind. So check out Decide to Be Kind on LinkedIn. And it's just about everybody being nice to each other on LinkedIn.
Oh, good.
It's a really nice movement.
Is this your movement, or is this?
No, it is not my movement. It is, it's quite a few people's movement. I might have to check out who it is, but it's a great, great movement. It's a really nice movement to have a look at.
Well, that's a new thing as well. In the 2 minutes we've got left, hashtags on LinkedIn. They didn't used to be a thing, but they've started to become a thing, haven't they?
They have. I mean, they're still a little bit in their infancy.
Yeah.
Don't use more than 3 because it's a bit spammy. But yeah, they're worth using, but with caution, I would say. A bit of caution. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah, give us a last bit of advice in the couple of seconds we have left.
Okay. I will say, and this is written on my profile, that your communications on LinkedIn, when you communicate on LinkedIn, communicate in the same way that you would in real life.
Okay.
That's a very good, nice sound clip I can use in the show promotion afterwards.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your colorful backdrop. It makes me happy, and it's just so shiny and beautiful. I love it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for brightening our day. Tim Sohn hopped on and said hi for a second. Hi, Tim. I didn't get a chance to say hi. Where can we find you, Sarah? It looks like Tim has you all your social handles.
You can find me there on Instagram, but obviously I'm on LinkedIn, Sarah Clay. You can find me on LinkedIn at Sarah Clay.
Yeah, I have a habit of always missing whatever the right platform is to put on them.
I'm here talking about LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, maybe
my Instagram. I mean, what's going on, Tim?
And
yeah,
Sarah,
well, that's what I had last week for whoever was on last week. That was Samantha Boffin. She was.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
SarahClaySocial.com. Make sure.
That's my website. Or my free Facebook group, which is called Learn to Love LinkedIn. And I go live in my Facebook group every Tuesday at 6 o'clock to answer. I go do Sarah's surgery, where I answer all your LinkedIn problems.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Doctors in the House, 6 o'clock tonight, over on Learn to Love LinkedIn.
So there you have it. And I think that's a great place to end the show. So thanks for being a guest.
Bye.
Thank you so much for having me. Great.
Bye, everyone.
This is terrifying for me.
I've made more money in the last 3 years than I did in the previous 7.
Cliche shit, you know.